guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled, I was fatally attracted to men with good looks, super confidence, and status, but they didn't make me happy. A dating coach tells single women it's time to ditch the addiction to the alpha males and bag a beta male if they want long-term love. And a big shout out to the dude that sent me this. He didn't leave your name, but you know who you are. And guys, this article is brand new, came out over the weekend. It's from a dating coach, and she is teaching desperate, single, often middle-aged gals who spent their youth and prime chasing after the bad boys, riding the carousel in Chad and Tyrone, how to get themselves a nice guy. How obviously it's not going to work out with the bad boys, because guess what? They don't settle down. They're not marriage material, but there's hope. And instead of chasing the alpha, which it says in the title, go after the beta, right here. And you're going to see in this article, it's going to cover all these things that you guys have heard about. All the things that I've covered in different stories, things maybe you've experienced in real life, theories you've had, things you know for a fact, like making rules for the betas and breaking rules for alphas. You're going to see that in this article, all this stuff. And you're going to definitely find this very entertaining. And this is only going to reinforce what I talk about, how the gals, when they get to a certain point, when they're ready to get that ring on their finger, you hear this all the time. They typically start about mid-20s. It really accelerates as they get close to 30. For the guys out there who do dating relationships, be careful. Because if you're honest with yourself and you weren't exactly popular and rolling with the ladies when you were in high school and college, and now because you have a job and you make some money and have a nice car and there's some resources, all of a sudden these gals there in their late 20s are paying attention to you, and nothing has changed about you and your personality, your appearance. It's just that you got some money and have potential, earning potential. The odds are they're chasing after you because they can't get what they want, so they're settling. And listen to things like this. So be careful. This is very important for you relationship guys to pay attention to. And this will only reinforce the rest of you guys why you have checked out a long time ago. Definitely entertaining. It's a longer one, but it's entertaining and good info. So it starts off. It says here, as a biologist, I know quite a bit about animal behavior. Yeah, well, as a guy from the school of life, I too know a lot about behavior. I study monkey mating strategies for my PhD, but I confess that I have made some poor choices when it comes to finding a mate of my own. Imagine that. In the past, like many women, I've been perpetually drawn to good-looking, exciting, dynamic men, lured by the sexual chemistry spark between us, only to be disappointed when the relationships didn't last. Well, newsflash, lady, I'm sure plenty of people told you it wouldn't work out, but yet you chased after them. In my early 30s, I jumped headfirst into marriage with such a man, but our relationship went downhill very fast. That's why you don't marry Chad and Tyrone. I realized I hadn't made the best choice, but not before I had 3 babies in quick succession, a boy and twin girls. The relationship was over before the youngest was a year old. Welcome to marriage with a bad boy. I'm sorry that happened to anybody, and obviously the kids in a divorced household, but this is what happens when you choose. That type of guy ain't going to work out. Infuriatingly, as a single mom, I found myself repeating the same dating mistakes over and over again, picking the men who seemed edgy and a bit of a challenge. What's the definition of insanity? Repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result? Right here. I was fatally attracted to good looks, super confidence, and status. It was at times exciting. They would sweep me off my feet with their love bombing, but these men didn't make me happy. Well, let's be honest. It's very rare to find a gal that's actually happy, even ones that seem to have everything. It seemed hopeless. There was clearly something very flawed in my own mating strategy. Aren't you the PhD in animal behavior? I thought you knew everything. In a bid to understand the dynamics of a relationship better, I switched the focus on writing and research from animal to human behavior. Gradually, this work led me to understand that my choices come partly from instincts that evolved in the Stone Age, when a woman would prefer a big, dominant, high-status man who could provide for her and offer protection. Well, here's the thing. The unfortunate thing is you either have the bad boy types that definitely can be physically strong and have that dominant personality, but those are the types that, generally speaking, aren't going to be relationship types. And on the other side, you got all the pushover nice guys, in varying degrees, of course, that aren't the ones that gals are chasing after, and the women end up running the relationship, which they don't want. The trick I try to get you guys all to do is have qualities that the bad boys have, and you know them, but not be a scumbag and be making something yourself in this world and actually be a good, decent person. That's the sweet spot, the spot where you have the strength, if you will, of the bad boys and the taking care of yourself, but you're still a good person and the hard work and ethics of what could be considered to be a nice guy without being the doormat nice guy. But so she's learning. It's not working. Chad and Tyrone don't, so now she has to find herself and set her crosshairs on the nice guy. Women today often seek these qualities, but they come at a cost. I realize that as a woman, beyond the stage of looking for a father of my babies, ding, 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 I could go for the type of guy who would be more likely to make me happy. Really? I decided to follow the research on attraction and completely change the way I looked for a man, and it worked. Rob was nothing like any of the men I dated before. You mean he didn't have a criminal record? He seemed nice and definitely interesting, but certainly wasn't what I used to think of my type, and I can't say I was bowled over it right away. Because typical nice guys aren't going to make women, get wet, for lack of a better term. In the past, that lack of immediate chemistry would have signaled, next please. But when I saw him at a bar, I initiated a chat. He later told me that if I hadn't made the first move, he might have never made contact. Take note. And I decided he was a good guy. I left him my business card. We met up a few times in an evening class just as friends. There you go. So, as she's getting older, and she has 3 kids, and she has her PhD, and I'm going to guess she has debt, and she's not as visually appealing as she was when she was younger. Now she's realizing these guys, A, aren't going to settle, and B, aren't interested in her. So now I'm going to go for the nice guy. Guys, you guys out there watching this, that trying to make something of yourself in this world, do you want to be settled for? To be the guy that, fine, I'll choose you, because nobody else, I can't get the guys I really want? Of course not. But right here, saying the whole thing. This is what happens. You must be careful. At some point, he told me he enjoyed singing and playing the ukulele. But it wasn't until I watched him performing at a local bar that I properly fell for him. He was a great singer and totally owned the room. Hey, women like rock stars, even if it's ukulele rock stars. This confidence really enhanced his sexiness. That was in 2016 when I had just turned 50. 50. Honey, at 50 years old, you take anything you can get. We married in 2019 and I'd never been happier. I truly found the love of my life, someone I can grow with. Well, you know what? If sincerely this guy does it for her and she treats him well, okay. But usually it's not that. It's usually they settle and then, they treat the guy like garbage. I know there are many other women out there in the same position as I was, making bad choices and finding themselves unhappy or alone in midlife. Well, it was their choices that put them there. So my own relationship success inspired me to build an online business, Dating Evolved, where I help other women over 50 use science to find the perfect long-term partner via an online program. How about you use your influence to reach out to younger gals and explain, don't be like us. Not that it will happen. Otherwise, you're going to be going through the same bullshit that we did. But no, it's clear that women, particularly midlife women, need a completely different approach than the one they had earlier in life. If you thought the dating pool was shrinking in midlife, think again. There's a whole category of fantastic men you have probably been overlooking all this time. You mean the majority of the male population that are actually good guys and would be good husbands and partners and whatever you want to call it, but you don't give the time of day because you're chasing after the small percentage of the population, which is mathematically impossible, and who probably a lot of people that know and love you told you, don't go for this guy, he's trouble, he's not marriage material, he's not going to settle down, he's going to cheat on you, this, but you didn't listen? Some might refer to these as nice guys as beta males, and the dominant competitive men as alpha males. I simply suggest that a nice guy will make you happier in the long term. Well, they will potentially make a gal happier in the long term because they're not going to cheat on them. They're going to be reliable. They're going to be supportive. They're going to do all these things that women claim they want. But when they get guys like this, they treat them like dog shit. But can women ever be happy? I don't know a whole lot that are. Once the biological clock is silenced, you can take your time and make choices based on what makes you happy. And what a lot of women don't know what makes them happy. By this stage 2, single women are most likely to be financially independent with less need to rely on the support, protection, or income from a man. With more freedom and scope, we can cast our net wider and think of the sort of men we might want to spend the rest of our lives with. Here is a selection of tips from my program that you can use to improve your own dating outcomes. You're going to love this. Here we are at the main event. Number 1, reject tall, dark, and handsome. The science shows that prioritizing charisma, charm, and chemistry won't guarantee long-term relationship happiness. So banish the idea of finding someone tall, wealthy, and dynamic from your mind. I can hear a never-ending supply of young women laughing their asses off of that prospect. Good luck, honey. Once you reach midlife, you really don't need a competitive, dominant man. If they're still single midlife, because they become the competitive, dominant man as a woman. I've noticed that as I know a number of single women through friendship groups and everything like that, and the ones that have got, once they get to their late 30s and definitely their 40s, and they haven't been married yet or anything super serious, it is their way or the highway. They are unwilling to budge in any way, shape, or form for anyone, including men. They're the dominant ones in the relationship. And the guys they do get are usually weaker guys, and eventually it fizzles. No joke. The instinctive attraction to strong, powerful men dates back to Stone Age times when life was tough, and winning a dominant, high-status mate was the best way to ensure food and protection for a woman and her children. But these are not qualities that necessarily bode well for relationship success. Natural selection doesn't care about happiness. Well, there are guys out there that are good guys, that aren't scumbags like Chad and Tyrone, the bad boys, but also are take charge, competitive, dominant, kicking ass in this world and taking names, all that. I'm trying to mold guys to be like that. We don't need any more scumbag Chad and Tyrone types that are nailing everybody's wives and have prison records and all that. They're just assholes. It's having some of the traits of the bad boys, but having find the happy medium. If you do not spot someone gorgeous and you feel a flutter of attraction, make sure you're willing to get to know him properly and make sure he's a good guy before you let yourself get involved. Use the 4 scientific strategies below to filter out the dominant, high-status males until you find the type of man who has the qualities, such as, now listen to this, consideration, trustworthiness, and kindness. Important for a contented, lasting relationship. Well, those are all great qualities, but again, women say they want a guy to behave a certain way, like this, considerate, trustworthy, and kind, but their actions show who do they chase after. The guys are the exact opposite. And attraction is attraction. You don't control who you're attracted to. So at the end of the day, the attraction and lust is always going to trump things like trustworthiness, kindness, consideration. No matter how many times they've been burned. And they can even settle with the nice guy, keyword settle, and marry him. They're still going to be attracted to a certain type. Number 1, pick someone who's a mate value. The measure of how appealing they are as a potential partner is roughly equivalent to yours. If theirs is high, they'll be getting a lot of attention from other women, and they might not value you in a way that you would like. Too low, and you might feel dissatisfied and not particularly invested in the relationship. Mate value, huh? Yeah, the guy that all the women want, don't go for him because you get the point. But then again, it said, don't go for the ones no one wants either. Number 2, favor men who scores high in agreeableness and empathy, which means they are likely to be considerate and treat people well. Translation, agreeableness and empathy means who's going to agree with everything you say. Who's going to do whatever he can to make you happy and put his own things second. Nice guy. Watch their behavior with others, a waiter or their friends, especially when they think you're not looking, and do this over the course of a number of dates. Remember, this is the guide to find a nice guy, guys. Some men are great at pulling out all the stops in the beginning, only to change once they get their feet under the table. Number 3, prioritize those with what psychologists call a high welfare trade-off ratio, which is the degree to which they will sacrifice their own benefit to help someone else. Again, translation, look for the guys that are willing to sacrifice their own happiness, their own goals, their own wants for you. Make you the center of their universe. You get the point. Again, nice guy central. And sadly, there are lots of guys out there that do this, because I have countless stories full of that. And what happens to those guys? They're miserable. Why? Because their wives have no respect for them because they have no backbone and spine. They always put her first, thinking that's what she wants, and it turns her off. The higher ratio skews in your favor. The more chance he will have your best interest at heart. Ding, ding, ding. If you shiver, he will take off his own coat to wrap around your shoulders. Does he make sure you get home safely or leap in the first cab and leave you stranded? Number 4. To qualify as good relationship material, he must be secure in his attachments, happy to talk about your needs and do what he can do to accommodate them. Again, back to do everything to make her happy, to accommodate her. Well, guess what? Women are attracted to men that are ass kissers, that make themselves miserable to make her happy. Now, some women like a guy they can boss around, or they go fuck Chad and Tyrone. You can't make this up, guys. It's right here. Now, I got no problem being good to your lady if she's good to you. If she's loving and loyal and supportive and all the good qualities I talk about, then of course treat her well. But still, you got to come first. Your needs, your wants, because the second you start making everything about her, she'll lose respect for you. And she's acting like an asshole. She's having a bad day and snaps to you because she's stressed about work. You check her on it. She's acting disrespectful or being a pain in the ass. You check her on it. But these type of guys she's describing here, they're never going to check her on things. Oh, no, 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 no. And she loses respect. At the end of the day, it's all about respect, guys. Women don't respect you, they ain't going to love you. You got to have self-respect and stand up for yourself and do what you want to do and take care of yourself instead of being this manservant to her. Another one. Separate your wants from your needs. You might think the man of your dreams is wealthy, good-looking, and popular, that he shares your hobbies, your sense of humor, and has a head full of glossy hair. These are your wants, but are they what you really need? Well, people usually make their wants their needs. Make a list of your wants, the nice-to-haves, which you could potentially compromise on to widen your potential pool, and your needs, non-negotiable qualities you have believed to be essential for a lasting, healthy relationship. Good luck finding a gal that is middle-aged, who has been on her own, who thinks that she's the Queen of Sheba, and have a small list of wants and needs. I guarantee you that list of requirements for her man is longer than the freaking receipts they give you at CVS. You know what I'm talking about? You go to CVS and buy something that the receipt goes forever, a giant scroll of coupons and shit. That's the modern gal today. Think I'm crazy? Listen to my videos. You might want a man with money and a washboard stomach, but is that a need? And more pressing need might be someone tactile who will hold your hand or cuddle you, or is keen to spend their retirement traveling with you. Really, a 50-year-old woman, a middle-aged woman is looking for a guy with washboard abs. Does she have a thin stomach? Does she have a smoking body to match the washboard abs that she wants to? Come on here. Next one. Oh, this is a good one. Don't go to bed for months. Now we're going to have the oldest trick in the book to find a nice guy. Don't sleep with him. Make him wait for you. Resist all temptation to rip each other's clothes off and leap into the bed before you've properly gotten to know each other. This is not for a reason of morality or for fear that you might appear too easy, because SEX sets off a cascade of brain chemicals which can get you strongly attached to a man before you have a chance to work it off if he's good for you or not. Far better to resist those feelings of desire at the start of the progress the relationship slowly, taking your time to build up a proper picture of that person before you tumble into bed together. That might mean waiting days, weeks, or even months, depending on the relationship. Yes, SEX might be tempting, but there's no point wasting your emotional energy on someone who's no good for you long term. In other words, she's telling the gals here, you're looking for a nice guy? Don't sleep with him right away. Take your time. Make him earn you. Well, this goes into the make the rules for the betas right here. Just like the title said, to find your beta, but break rules for the alphas. The alphas, they're sleeping with that night. Hell, they may even leave the restaurant. They're in the freaking bathroom getting it on. How many of you? Okay, I'm not going to say what I'm about to say. How many of you guys have, in your younger years in clubs and bars, had that moment with that gal that was drunk, and let's just say you made it to the bathroom, and you get the point. But anyhow, break the rules for the alphas, make rules for the betas. No self-respecting guy who has something going on for himself is going to wait months to hook up with a gal he's dating. She's going to be out of there. After a few dates, and they've been hanging out, and there's nothing going on, goodbye. But your typical nice guy, which he's trying to get these gals to get, that have next to no options, they'll take anything. Next one. How to fancy a nice guy, not a bad boy. Don't be put off by the initial lack of chemistry. Research shows that if you like a man's personality and humor, you can gradually come to find him physically attractive and the desire will grow. Well, there's some truth to that with women. I will say that. I've seen gals with guys that are not exactly the best looking dudes, but really make them laugh, and they do like their confidence, and they're with them. And they don't have a whole lot of money. I've known, so some gals definitely, and this definitely makes men and women different in this area. They find a guy really funny, or he's confident even though he's not very good looking. They'll be drawn to him that way. So there's some truth to that. The key to lighting the touch paper of desire is to find his confidence sweet spot. Maybe he's a demon cricketer, a great cook, or a wonderful singer. Nice guys might prefer to keep their light hidden under a bushel, but it's worth digging and arranging to see him in his happy place, preferably in public. It was only when I watched Rob singing in a bar that I properly got the hots for him. Witnessing other women finding your man impressive or attractive can turbocharge the process too. You hear that? Right there. Now, because her guy here liked to play his ukulele, to each their own, and does it in like a band, and other women were cheering him on, you're like, oh, this guy's in demand. That's probably what made her go after that nice guy. But most nice guys are not going to have women cheering after him and everything like that. Next one, be the boss of online dating. Anytime women use the word boss associated with them, run for the hills. You don't need a boss babe or boss this or boss that. That's usually a sign of masculine women are like that. Boss babes. They're usually ball busting, and they're the way of the highway. You don't want that. Most women hate the idea of looking for love online. But finding a good man is a numbers game, and this is a good way to meet a lot of men. The more men you can sift through, the better your chance of finding one that can make you happy. Again, really happy? The key to bossing the online system is ruthlessly to flick past the chambers and the players and keep your options open for the men who are properly interested in you. Here's how. Number 1, create a personalized profile which highlights all your points of difference. Women tend to think they should create a profile that makes them look slim, attractive, and sexy, with a broad ranges of interest, but different men like different things. No, men like attractive, slim, and sexy. That's what we all want. Unless a guy's into big girls, we like gals that are thin and look feminine and have nice hair and pretty face and preferably a good rack and a nice ass. Now, you're not going to see her nice ass on the dating app. At least I don't think so. You get the point. Sure, those other things are cool, but let's be honest. Men are men around the world. And she's telling you, don't do all that. Instead, your own idiosyncrasies may be and be confident that you will be attracted to the man who is right for you. There's no point trying to deceive with touched up or filtered photographs. Well, I agree. Be honest who you are on the dating apps. How many of you guys have been on a date, talked to a girl online through a dating app, met up with her for a drink or dinner, even though you shouldn't do dinner on the first date, and she's 50 pounds bigger than what she looked like, or she looks 10 years older than her picture. You get the point. So yes, they should be honest in the pictures. Research shows that you're most likely to get a response from a man who's right for you if you show your unique qualities that if you aim to portray a generic all-around attractiveness. This is if she actually responds to the guy in the dating app. Dating apps aren't exactly the best deal for most guys out there. Number 2, to filter out the players, include a line in your profile which describes something you would really like to do, like drink Merlot in a jazz club, see the sunrise in Kilimanjaro, and watch all the Harry Potter films back to back. Well, if the bad boys start hitting her up, she's probably going to go for them anyway. Like, wow, I'm 50 years old, the bad boys are interested in me? I'll go for this guy. Then ignore any generic hi messages and focus on the men who respond to the specifics of your profile, and take the time to craft a relevant reply. It shows you are turned into you. They are turned into you. Number 3, avoid responding to men who say they don't know what kind of relationship they're looking for, or let's see what happens, as this could be the sign of a player or someone who has attachment issues. You mean respond the way that a lot of gals respond to guys? Number 4, don't waste too much time messaging. Instead, arrange to meet up in person or over Zoom early in the dating process so that you can rapidly decide whether the man has potential and move on if he doesn't. Well, I agree there. A lot of people spend too much fucking time texting and talking on the phone, not getting the point of arranging a date, inviting her out on a date, and going from there. So I'll give her that one. She says, next one, how to bump into a decent man. It's no good leaving the important job of finding a romantic partner to chance. If you sit back and wait for men to come into your orbit, you will tend to get hit by the super confident men with all the moves. The nice guys, those who are more respectful and care what people think, will tend to hang back. Well, women want the bad boys to come hit on them. If you want one of those, you got to go out and find them and be ready to make the first move. If I had taken my own advice here, I would never have met my husband. Number 1, get into the habit of striking up conversations with strangers, male or female, on the train, in the supermarket, and when you're walking the dog, until making the first move when you see someone is interested in second nature. Number 2, check out clubs, courses, and meetup.com where groups with shared interests can get together. Number 3, when you arrange to meet a friend in a bar or cafe, make a point of arriving early. Sit facing outwards into the room with an open body posture, no folded arms, and stay off your phone. Look around the room, make eye contact with other people, and smile. Well, there's a tip. Get off your goddamn phone. Number 4, don't be afraid to make the first move. Nice guys tend to be respectful and might hang back, especially if they think you are really amazing. And number 5, carry a business card to leave with a man if he enjoyed chatting with you. Hand it over when you get up to leave and say, "Here's my card if you want to stay in touch." Then walk away without fear of embarrassment. So there you go, guys. That long-ass thing, but the instruction, step-by-step on how to land a nice guy. And again, it's the story as old as time. The gals chase after the bad boys. Bad boys aren't relationship material or marriage material. Everybody tells them that, but they still chase after them. Then when it's too late, the looks are fading, then they're going after the nice guy. But here's the interesting part. A lot of the quote-unquote nice guys nowadays are watching content like this. They're tired of being burned. They're tired of being treated like dog shit and second-class citizens, so they're saying, not happening. Either they're done with relationships altogether and realize it's very overrated, recognize the world we are in, or say, why am I, who have been working on myself in my prime, my 30s and 40s and 50s, and I've stopped being that shy, awkward guy when I was younger, got my body in good shape, making good money, doing well for myself. Why am I going to go for some gal who's in her 40s with a couple kids when I worked on myself, made something myself, a gal that wouldn't give me the time of day 20 years ago? Why am I going to go for her? What does she bring to the table? Oh, no. If I'm going to get a gal, it's going to be one that's 15 years younger than me. I'll use Leonardo DiCaprio as my role model because I can do it. That's the flaw in this whole thing here. Guys, I know a number of gals, I mentioned this for a couple in particular, that were in their prime, 20s, hell, even 30s, early 30s, looked fucking hot. And they were the most delusional with regards to how of their value, their perceived value, and every guy wasn't good enough. I kid you not. Next thing you know, they're in their 40s, and they don't have a family yet, and they're crying at these gatherings and get-togethers that I get to, because you have friends that have friends of friends of friends at barbecues you see a couple times a year, and they're crying because they don't have kids and a husband and everything, when it's their own attitude and unreasonable demands that got in this place in the first place. And then all of a sudden, guys like us, good guys making things themselves, should settle for them, they wouldn't give the time of day of 20 years ago? I don't think so. And they're alone and have to resort to medical science to have children. And I know I've observed this. And this is where we are today. And it's only going to get worse. Because more and more guys are done being treated the way we are. And also being treated like second-class citizens. But this isn't just in the dating market, but also by the government. And the narrative right now that men are the devil. That type of thing. So it should be very interesting. Now, sure, her ideas here will definitely help some gals out. And some lonely guys too, but no gal wants to be the second choice, the third choice, or fourth choice from a guy, and no guy wants to be the second and third or fourth choice from a gal. So we shall see. She found her guy. I wish her luck. She's happy and all that, but there you go, the whole thing on how to trap a nice guy and things to look out for, things to do. It's right there. Things I talk about all the time, right there in this story. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below and what you think about this, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.